Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Racing Topic Podcast. Hot on the heels after CKNA. I have three guests with me today. I have the driver of the 324, Luis D'Alessandro, the driver of the 350 on a brand new Burrell kart now, Brennan Taylor.
How's it going, guys?
And the driver of the 318 and the first female to be on the podcast, Jelena Lakovic. So, guys, let's get right into business. First off, what did you guys think of CKNA? How was it? Did it meet expectations?
It was very eventful.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of karts, and I mean, by the Sunday, we kind of all like I guess we're a bit more respectful. It's just on the Saturday, there's just so many karts, and everybody was just trying to get to the front, right? But that's just racing.
Yeah.
But event-wise, there's some bugs to get out, but like, what can you expect? Like, you know what I mean? Like, first event here in Canada with so many karts, but like, I'm looking forward to like next year. And yeah,
I think a lot of people figured out on Sunday that crashing isn't a good idea on the first lap, especially with that many people, and it went smoother the next day, so everyone definitely learned.
Yeah, I thought it was cool. Like, it was my actual first big event where like I found it was really organized with like they were blowing the whistle and everything to keep everyone on perfect time. I thought that was pretty cool. And yeah, there was, some parts had some chaos, but it was fun still.
I got a lot of nostalgia back to the old days of EC Casey and stuff when they always had the officials and with the double flags out like this and the whistle before every session and stuff. Gave us a lot of nostalgia vibes back to those days. So yeah, I know we kind of just answered this question, but 40 karts. I mean, it wasn't too bad, I guess, in the heat races, but once we hit the final, oh boy, that was it's almost like a fight for survival.
Yeah, especially on a track like Goodwood too, like it's just so tight. Like going into
exactly.
4, it's like you just cross your fingers and
Mhm.
you're praying to the Lord.
Oh, man.
I think we had more people cutting the lawn on the first race than actually on the track.
Yeah, even like it didn't end like after the first lap. It was like every lap there was yellow flags on almost every corner. It was like just too many karts trying to occupy the track.
Yeah.
Mhm. I agree. And unfortunately, Brennan, it ended up costing you the win on Saturday. For those who don't know, Brennan Taylor on track actually won the feature race, but got penalized after it was found out he passed under yellow flag. So
Yeah, but it is what it is. I mean, the rules are rules. I wish I could have protected myself. So I actually got a GoPro now. So
hey,
the future races. And yeah, just knowing that rule book really inside out too. I got my homework cut out for me for sure. But moving forward, I knew I had the speed and like to win on track. So I mean, just move forward that confidence for Shannonville and Nationals. Yeah.
I agree with that. How did everything go just before that, Brennan? Did you felt like even though I know, but your pace and everything leading up to the feature and stuff,
Yeah.
in the heats?
Yeah, especially in the practices the day before, it just like everything, just the kart was on rails. We didn't change anything setup wise. It was just going with the flow, seeing how the track changes, and it worked out in the end. And it was a tight battle between me and Logan, which was fun. But yeah.
He's talking about Logan Ploder, who I will interview next on the podcast. Stay tuned for that. That is also coming this week. But let's move on. Jelena, how was your weekend and how was your race? Because you ran 2 classes as well, did you not?
Yeah, I was running senior medium and senior light. I was running around every day. I was there always on Friday practicing, and those 3 days were exhausting, I'm not gonna lie. But it was great running both classes. I got a lot of track time, a lot of experience that I'm picking up on since I started later in the game. And I would do it again, honestly. If Goodwood introduced more senior classes, I would definitely run both. And my weekend actually was a little surprising considering we had a lot of amazing drivers coming into Goodwood. I landed a double podium in senior medium, third both days. And Sunday, I wasn't expecting a podium at all, but I really had to work for it. Like, I have zero experience in the rain, so this is probably my first race ever in the rain. And I think I started the feature in senior medium in ninth. And by then the track kind of dried up, but I made my way up to third, and it was actually, I was so proud just to make it up there, but it was a lot of fun. And in senior light, it was crazy with all those drivers, but you get a lot of eventful races, so it's fun to watch, I'm sure.
I personally feel like we're a bit lucky that it didn't rain for the final, because I feel like it would have been even more crazy than what it was on the Sunday. But yeah, and all that. So Luis, we'll go to you next. How was your weekend, and how did you feel about your first big event?
Saturday was actually pretty good. Like that's my first time racing with that many carts. So I found it pretty good. I landed, I think like 25th out of 40, which I think is okay. And then that feature race, I was 15th after the first like few corners. I was doing really well. And then as you guys know, Javier flipped over me. So I lost about another 10 positions from that. So Saturday was not bad. And then Sunday was a bit chaotic, off and on rain all the time. And I that was my first time in the rain. So yeah, Sunday was a bit more chaotic. I was a bit slower, couldn't keep up, but we learned, so we'll see.
Yeah, I agree. It's all about experience and stuff like that. And I think a lot of us really haven't raced in the rain that much. So we're trying to work out all the kinks and all the bugs and stuff and trying to get back into it. So I know with me, I was kind of, I don't want to say at a disadvantage, but I know my rain tires weren't like brand new. And that's what I was noticing a lot on this weekend, especially on Saturday, was a lot of people buying brand new rain tires. And that seemed to help, especially when it got really bad. But again, like we said, it was just constantly changing. Wet, then dry, then really, really wet, then
Oh my-
intermediate dry, and then regular dry again. And it's like, how
Yeah,
does your
one or the other.
anxiety?
I think
Yeah.
we need to talk about that one heat race. I don't know if you guys were in it, but it was raining and we were all on slicks. And I think Brennan was the only
Yeah.
one
You're
with
the only
rain
one on
tires.
rains. And
Just-
I kept
yeah.
hearing from the commentator over the loudspeaker, Brendan Taylor's pulling out bigger lead,
So
bigger
bad.
lead, out by 10 seconds. It's like, and that's when I think a bunch of us in Heat 2 were saying, okay, we need to switch to reins right now. This is
Yeah.
going that
we
way.
were, we were just about to put my cart like down on grid, and my mom was on race monitor, and she saw the masters, like the session before us, they'd slow down by 4 seconds.
Yeah.
So she was like, okay, I think we got to put the intermediates on. And like, luckily I had my like wagon or whatever, quickly ran up to the hill, got the tires, rolled it down, and got on grid just on time. And
Hey, that's
yeah.
good.
You got lucky because I was about to go out and I had another cart that I was changing the tires on for my other class, and I had no time. I was literally running to the grid. So.
So
Yeah.
we saw Brennan like lap because I was heat 1, which was second. And as soon as we saw that he was lapping like 10 seconds lap faster, I immediately changed the tires. And I think that was our full wet, or that was the wet race for everyone.
Yeah. So did I. Immediately switched once it said that you were going. And then Heat 2 really was even more chaotic, especially off the start. A couple of us just barreled into turn 4 and got wrecked. Logan Ploder spun. Me and Jonathan Treadwell had to go to the turn 4 grass and heat. I got a mouthful of dirt because he got on the gas right when we got into the sand, and it kicked a bunch of sand right up right in my face. So that was real nice. And a couple other people getting into it and stuff like that. I know Ploder bent his steering column and his tie rod in that race. I know Treadwell and Christian Savalio got into it on the last lap of that race. It was a real good battle up front as well with John Lucas Savalio and Kevin King. And it's just one of those weird races where it's like intermediate weather where the top side is dry, but it's like loose enough to where you can run rain tires, and the bottom is still wet, so you don't want to run through there. So it's just regular intermediate tires where it's almost dry, but you're just running the wet line on wet tires, and it'll chew the rain tires to shreds. But I mean, that's why you have one set of good tires and one set of not so good tires.
Yeah, and as
Yeah.
the session went on,
It
I
got
think it was Heat 2. Yeah, it started, it was a little bit wet. We went out on inters, and then halfway through it started to rain a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I didn't see it on my visor or whatever. So I'm going through 7, then all of a sudden I'm starting to push and I'm like, oh no, I think it's starting to rain more. So now we start taking wet lines and dry lines, and it was, yeah, I guess it just came down to, I guess, like being aware and I guess experiencing the rain. Just
Yeah.
yeah, at the end of
Yeah,
the day.
that's all it is, experience. It's like, it's a big learning curve when you've never done it
Oh,
before,
yeah.
and just the feeling of the card is like totally off.
Yeah, it's a strange feeling. It's like, why won't it turn? Why won't it turn?
Yeah.
I learned last weekend that it's probably better to be out on wets in the dry than it is for slicks in the wet, because
Yeah.
we went out for practice. I don't know, I think it was the heat one, or no, sorry, not the heat, it was a group one, and we went out for a practice and it just started raining and everyone was on slicks and everyone went in, but I was gonna, like, I'll try staying out on slicks, and I spun I think 5 times in one
Oh,
lap.
gee.
It was just, I wanted to test it because I wanted to see how it would be like if later in that day I got caught too, but it's almost undrivable. Like, it's
Mhm.
hard with wets,
Yeah.
and with slicks you just go straight. So
Like it's
Yeah.
so delicate. It's like balancing 3 eggs underneath each pedal and all that stuff, and you can barely touch the throttle when it's spinning. Oh, it's horrible.
I feel like it's better. I agree that you should go out with wets in the dry, because with the wets you just go through puddles a little bit to cool down the tires and make it work. But yeah, slicks in the rain is definitely not a good idea.
No, it's not. So I'll switch the topic a little bit here. So how do you guys think the event was run? And how do you guys think, if there was any criticism, that they could improve on as this season goes into its second season, and so on and so forth?
I'll just start. I think it was run actually pretty well. My only like complaint was the Sunday, I think it was, when like they switched group B and A,
Yeah.
and then for the heats they
Mhm.
switched us back, but they switched the letters again. So it was like, it was really like, it was confusing, and I didn't know how they
Yeah,
came up with
who's
that.
where and stuff.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we eventually, obviously, we figured it out, but it just seemed like that could have been more organized, not switching the groups and whatever. But
Yeah.
other than that, I think the weekend was actually run pretty well.
Yeah, I agree. I almost missed a couple of heats because they put me in a different group. I was checking the like sheets all the time that they were posting, and I see like everyone in my group going out, and I'm like asking around, guys, what's going on? But yeah, we figured that out. And I agree. It was run nicely. It was a very homey feel, and I liked how they played the national anthem and everything. It's very homey.
One thing I will say about the national anthem, sorry, Brennan, before we get to you, is the first day, I guess, when everything was going crazy and everyone was trying to get to where or whatever, like nobody was standing still for the national anthem. Everyone was going all over the place and stuff. It was like, oh man. It was just the timing as they played it and stuff, because there was just that massive rush that was going on. So anyway, Brennan, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, actually, now that you mention it, I feel pretty guilty because I don't think I was there for the anthem. So looks like I'm gonna have to stay in tonight or something, play it just to. But yeah, I think it was well organized, and yeah, I agree that the heats on the second day was a little bit confusing, and we literally just went down when the heat started just to be like, okay, either we're in group 1 or 2, we'll just stand here and see.
Yeah.
But other than that, I really like how they did qualifying, how they didn't let us all out at once.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty cool. It was almost kind of like a super pole, like from nationals, which I found it shows like, I mean, yeah, I guess there's certain skill in driving and getting a good draft, but I really like to see just like driver for driver, just
Yeah,
who can
exactly.
nail
Who's
down
just
the pass.
got that little bit more than
Yeah.
anybody else.
Mhm.
I
So I
agree,
like that.
actually. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
It's okay.
I've had a lot of races where I've had the pace to be like, let's say top 5, top 3, but I wouldn't get the draft in qualifying, and I feel like that would just screw up the rest of my weekend because I wasn't able to qualify and I didn't have that draft like everyone else did. So the fact that we could all show our own pace rather than relying on somebody else in front of you who probably is isn't even as fast as you are, but yeah, I think it was really good, and I think Goodwood should try that out a little bit.
I was just gonna say, without the draft, I think it was like the times could kind of be closer, because normally with the draft, it's like people that don't get it are so much further behind and they're so much further out of it, versus the
Mhm.
people that do, they push each other up. So I think we saw a lot closer times, because it's like it's just you racing. So it's like there's no advantage, and even the slowest people are still going like with the same advantage, or whatever you want to call it, with the fastest people anyways. So
Yeah. And I will say, and you could literally feel it as well when you didn't have any draft. It was, you could really feel that you didn't have any draft. Like there's just nothing there. You're just going along compared to what it was. It's like, geez, they need to go up an entire gear if you didn't have the draft or whatever, just to properly, set yourself up and all this stuff. It's like, wow, made such a difference. So
Yeah.
Not like our draft in, what was it? The third practice?
yeah, third
Like just
practice.
that feeling like we were just flying, man.
I know. Oh, that
Yeah.
was amazing.
Yeah.
It's like once you start feeling like, the bump draft and stuff like that, you just feel yourself going. It's like, all right, yeah, we
Yeah.
got this, and just
Feel
keep
the
going
engine
and going.
revving up. Yeah.
And that was the other thing as well. I don't know. I think, well, I'm not sure if all four of us were in that, but for whatever reason, they said this is one of my complaint was, I guess they were trying to stick to the schedule, but because we were ahead of schedule at the time, they decided to try and throw a 15-minute break for our group. It was the last group B of seniors. So it was the last group of that round before we cycled back through, and they were going to throw a 15-minute break while we were on the grid with our helmets and everything on, ready to go, almost ready to start the carts. So it's like, all right, we're just going to wait a little bit. Okay. So a couple of us get out of the carts, whatever. I took almost all my stuff off, and then Dan DeLeo just comes out of nowhere and says, 1 minute. So I'm struggling to get all my stuff back on and all this, and then not even 1 minute, not even 30 seconds. And we're ushered out of the pit lane and stuff. I had to spend the first lap of that session trying to get my gloves on. I had one in my hand and one on my lap when I exited the pits, and I'm trying the whole lap to try and get them on and stuff like that. It's like, oh, jeez. So that was irritating. Like, if just please in future, can we get a warning instead of just, all right, fire up and go? Like, anyway,
Yeah,
whatever.
they-
It's done and dusted.
They did that a few times actually during the weekend. And I think they had little water breaks for the officials.
Yeah, which
And-
makes sense considering it's blazing hot out there for them. Like, if you were one of the
Yeah, it
officials,
makes
you'd probably
sense.
be in their position.
But they didn't tell us. And
No.
the same thing, we were all waiting on grid. I was probably there. This was for my medium class. And it was probably 10 minutes. And it was like beyond 30 degrees. We were all roasting in our
Ugh.
suits and our helmets and everything. And I didn't want to take off my helmet because
No.
last time Dan came running, and I was like, I want to be prepared. But yeah, it was so hot. But the officials are getting a drink and we're all up there like cooking in the sun.
Yeah. So, I mean.
Yeah. I guess these are the bugs that they'll eventually get out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, no
So-
series is perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But,
No.
people are always going to have their complaints and stuff. So,
Yeah.
Anyway, let's switch gears a bit here. So, now with us coming up, because there are no more track races until Shannonville. And I asked the last group, the last podcast panel, this question: how are you guys excited for Shannonville? Because I think a lot of us are.
I'm so excited. I had good pace last year, but that was on a different cart. It was on my awesome cart, 30 mil chassis. So we don't have a baseline to go off of on this new cart, but we're just going to keep the setup the same and go there because like from Hamilton to Goodwood, we kept the setup and it was fast on both tracks. So we're going to go there, just keep an open mind. And at least I wrote the gear down from last year.
Smart
yeah.
decision.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm actually excited for Shannonville. It was a tough weekend for me last year, but till the Sunday, I think it was Kart Star Senior, I had my best qualifying like ever. I think I qualified third. It was really exciting. I had the pace for sure. Just the heats didn't go too well. Like once you get out of the draft, you're actually gone.
Oh yeah,
Everyone
that is
takes
the
off,
most
so
draft dependent track
And
out there.
tires. And
especially
Yes.
when there's like
Yeah.
a train of like 5 people, you have no other choice other than to go
Mhm.
behind them because
Yeah.
you have nowhere else to go. So
When you're
should be
behind
fun.
somebody there, it's like a suction cup, man. Just
Oh,
right
down
up
that
to the
straight.
back of them. Yep. It is
Yeah.
absolutely insane. Anyway,
Every-
Luis, go ahead because this is going to be your first time down there, isn't it?
Yeah, I was just about to say, I'm pretty excited. I'm also nervous a bit because, you have to figure everything out. Like you said, I don't have a gear, don't have anything for setup, don't know the track. So I'm probably going to watch a few YouTube videos to help me learn the track a little bit. And then hopefully we can get out there for practice and, figure out the setup. And then, follow some of you guys who have been there and try to figure it out. But yeah, hopefully it's a good weekend.
And I know there's going to be a lot of contenders in that race. I know Aiden and Grad is coming back to race with us on that weekend. It's up in the air if Dale Bonham's racing it again. He won last year.
Yeah.
Both days actually. He won Saturday and Sunday. Nicky Palladino won the senior pro shootout on the Friday by 3/1000th of a second over Bonham. Might I add, that race was one of the best, unfortunately. And Brennan, you know this as well. The race was going so well in the last lap, and this is the one gripe that I will really bring up on that track is those bloody tires that they use for
Yep.
curbs there.
Well, hopefully we won't see a return of those.
You never
As-
know.
Trying to get as close as you can to that corner, but just clipped it once and Chad went over the top of me and then Jake. And then, yeah, it was a little bit of a mess, but kind of did that to myself there.
Yeah. So,
But
man.
yeah.
There's
From what
not
I
much.
remember, from what I remember last year, there were a lot of flips actually. I hope that
Yes.
doesn't happen again.
And again, I think it was kind of because of the grass in some areas was muddy as well. And just where you spun off just made the card flip over that. And again, the tire issue. And another thing that we really noticed there as well is it was so dusty and so much gravel as well. Also got ended up getting put on the track.
Yeah. I think it was corner 4 or 5. It
Yeah.
was that quick, like left hand, like right,
Left, right, left.
And you like
Yeah.
literally, if you didn't take that little patch of dirt, you would have lost a 10th or 2. So like,
Yeah.
yeah, just literally close your eyes. The guy in front of you's
Yes.
going through it, like rocks
Yeah, I know.
everywhere. And yeah, but we'll see
And
what the
That
track's.
and the track was also very momentum based. So if you
Yes.
lost that little bit of time, you had to take another lap just to get your momentum back.
Yeah. Agreed. And it was also very difficult on tires. As we found out, you wouldn't think it would be that way because of almost being wide open the whole track, but it is, especially in the front end. You'll be able to notice it even just on 1 day old tires. It's just like huge what the new tires will do for you.
Yeah, I heard they did some track improvements though. I'm not sure if they've fixed any of the bumps. People were complaining a lot last year that it was hurting their ribs and
Yeah.
back and everything.
It was, especially that one big hump over around the second last turn where it transitioned to another
Yeah.
piece of asphalt where everybody would just jump over that pretty much. And yeah, that was hard on the ribs for sure. So
I found that there was a very specific line that you could avoid that bump, but didn't happen every time.
and that's probably one of the hardest tracks to defend as well. So say you go defensive to the inside and the whole train goes to the outside. I'm sorry, but you're just going to get blown by because that train is just going to go absolutely flying by you. So it's just whatever type of run you have. And the best thing about that track, I have to say, last year, hands down, we all saw it, was the finishes. The finishes were fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, like
Yeah.
you could be in first right up till the last corner and you don't know.
Mhm.
It's like it's all up to if there's a third guy who he wants to help across the line. Literally.
Exactly.
And yeah, like you said, like I don't know if it was a Saturday or Sunday, but yeah, it's Dale and I and McFoy behind, and it was like you could go as tight as you could going into corner 1 and they would be around the outside, or you could try to be a bit wider, they'd go down your inside.
Yeah,
And it's like,
exactly.
yeah, it's track,
I
I
think-
guess. Yeah, go on.
I was just gonna say the only thing that sucks with those like really close finishes is where your transponder is, because I know there was a
Yes.
lot of drama about that. But let's say for myself, I'm a little bit taller than most people. That means my seat is farther back than everyone else's. So
Yes.
if we're relying on where the transponder is, how is that fair saying we're all going like 3 wide down the straight? My transponder is going to be like farther back than yours. So how is it
Yes.
fair to, say that?
Yes, yes. And I know that did bite some people last year with some transponders being closer than others. Personally, I wish it was actually judged on when your front nose cone hits the line. Like that should be how it calls it. Like in every racing league, that's how they call it right there.
Yeah.
As soon as like the tip of your front nose cone reaches the line, boom, that's how you call it. But I guess that's just the way they're calling it now with the transponders, unless you actually argue it.
Yeah.
But
What else I also found interesting is, like I said, when I was reading through like the rule book, trying to figure it out inside out, for the cup carts at least, they said for your transponder, it can be 9 inches from the back of your kingpin. So you could put it on
Yes.
your side pod.
yes, you could. You could.
Which yeah, I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because then that takes away, I guess, the seat like discretion.
Yeah.
But it'd be cool if like cart stars could adopt that. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah,
It's
Yeah, I
totally up
feel
to
like
them.
it would even the playing field a little bit just to have that, like, it would be baseline for everyone rather than having it on the
Mhm.
seat.
Yeah.
yeah, somewhere where you can't move it around, somewhere like where it's same on every card. I feel like it'd be
Mhm.
easier.
Mhm.
Mhm.
I will say I'm also excited for the senior pro race because that was a real good one last year. That and we get to take weights off the cart at least, or at least I
Yeah.
do. As for me, because
That's me.
geez, I have the heaviest cart on the grid, 65 pounds on that thing, and when no wonder everyone, even Alan Sanders today, when he helped me lift the cart, he's like, "All right, I need to call my chiropractor after this because my back is going to be absolutely killing me." It's like, yeah, everybody says that because they can't lift my cart because it's so heavy. So, oh man.
Same with
I
me.
felt you on that one. My cart was as heavy as yours, Chad, on the weekend for one of my
Oh boy.
classes.
Senior
It was
medium. That's right.
heavy for sure. Yeah.
That's what I couldn't believe. I thought they were going to lower the weight for senior life, but they kept it the same.
I know.
Yeah, it's all
I was surprised too. And senior heavy was at 390, I think. That's insane.
That is absolutely unbelievable, man. So, yeah, Shannonville is up on the horizon, and then after that is the Mossport Nationals. Brennan, as you said, you're doing that. I'm not sure if either you two are doing that
Probably
or
not.
if it'll come around. I'm going to be on commentary for that from Friday to Sunday. And then after that, we got a bunch of weeks of racing going on. We got Shannonville, then we got the Nationals at Mossport, and then we got Kart Stars at Sutton, return to Sutton, and then after that is the final round of the Ron Fellow series at Mossport, as far as I know. So, what are you guys' opinion on Sutton upcoming in the next month?
Well, I love Sutton, my favorite track. I think it's the best track. Everyone says, it's old, it's bumpy, it's whatever, but technicality wise, you need to know how to drive there. You need to know how to carry momentum. I think there's a lot of passing zones. It's very eventful. And it's a historic track. It's iconic.
I'm not sure if any of us have raced on it. Luis, I know you haven't. I was there last year, but I did not race. And it looks like Brennan didn't race on it
Yeah.
either. So we're all going to be
I haven't
newbies at it
either.
this year. So, oh boy, that's going to be something to get used to, but whatever. I mean, we already went to Point Peely as well, and that has to be the most cheese grating track I've ever raced on. That destroys your tires. I will say going this direction this year on Peely was better than the other direction last year. At least in my opinion.
I thought it was a interesting track. It was, for some reason, it was hard to stay close with the pack without.
Yeah.
It must have been just the sweeping corners or something. But I didn't have the best luck there. Just couldn't get my chassis to work. But I still enjoyed the track. Like, I haven't tried the reverse format yet, but I'll take your word that it was better.
So I
It was
thought
a
it was
fun
all right.
track.
I thought it was
It
all
was a
right.
fun track, but I think it was a little bit difficult, like for people who can't really afford new tires, because it really
Yeah.
set everyone apart. Like
Yeah,
it was
did.
crazy,
Like to the point where you almost had to do tire management throughout like 2 days.
honestly.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I was at a disadvantage for most of the weekend because I couldn't make it for the Friday practice. So I showed up. I didn't even know that it shredded tires. So I showed up the Saturday morning for practice and I asked, like, not knowing, I put on my new fresh tires. And I was the only one for that qualifying that
Oh.
had like one set or one session old tires. So it was like everyone, well, I didn't even know the track. So because that was my second time out,
Mhm.
but I didn't qualify very well, and then I found that it burned through probably the top rubber like a lot. That's what everyone was saying, but then after a few sessions it slowed down. But
Yeah.
I still think like that first top bit of rubber on the tire was like gone in a couple sessions, and that's when the tire slowed down quite a bit.
Yeah, I agree. So it just ended up being like that. That's how it's always been. Where in qualifying, like our best lap was like on lap 2 or 3, and every other lap just was like 3, 5 tenths slower after that. And it was like, all right, you're just burning rubber. You might as well just come off.
I actually set my fastest lap on like 7 because I was still learning. I was still learning the track, so every lap was actually getting quicker. So it was like qualifying honestly didn't really matter because I didn't know. It was almost like unfair. But yeah,
I could see that. So also one thing I got to give a shout out to was Adrian Corniers. He did the same thing you did, Luis. Literally winged it, went into the weekend and ended up pulling it off in the final and winning. So through the last couple races on the track side and heading into kart stars, he's been the man to beat. He's been on a 4-win streak. And he actually didn't end up doing CKNA, but he'll be back with us at Shannonville. So that'll be another one to see out for as the track and these championships actually start to come to a close. Doesn't feel like it, but we're already closing in on the end of the season, even though it doesn't feel like it. But time flies, especially this year. So, but I think it's also been really nice to get back out there, even without a lot of barely any restrictions with COVID and stuff. We're finally kind of clear of it, even though maybe the cases are amping back up. They're more or less not going to put us back into lockdown. And I think there would be a massive outrage if they did, even over the winter season. But I think we got to get to the point where we got to live with this. And, people have other diseases and stuff, and it's also killing them. It's not just COVID and stuff. So unfortunately, vaccine, yes, I feel like, yes, we should still get it. It will prevent you from having any major sick problems, but it's not going to stop you from getting COVID completely, as we've seen with many people. So
I feel like motorsport is a great sport because we're outside and we can't
exactly.
really do much about it. So
Mm-hmm.
we can continue.
Mm-hmm.
I also was really happy that they started the season normally in April rather
Yes.
than last year. We started in June. I came back, I was in London in school, and I think I had a week in between my final exams. And I was like, okay, first race, I'm coming back. I don't care.
So, yeah, first time in 2 years that we've started the season regularly back in April instead of June. So, feels like a long time, but in the end, once you get to it, it's actually not too bad. And, everything's pretty much back to normal. We're all hanging out again and stuff. So, I think it's just feels a lot better. And this is why I'm saying that 2022 is actually quite a good year.
Yeah, no, an expensive one at that. Forgot how
Yes.
much money it costs to run a full season.
Oh, man. Yeah, that, and especially now with the
Absolutely.
gas prices going up and all
Oh.
this stuff, it's like, oh
Gas used
man.
to be the cheapest thing in karting. Now it's getting up there with like chains and clutches and
Yeah, I know, and all this stuff.
yeah.
And even getting new chassis and stuff, man. So
Yeah.
that'll set it to you. I just want to ask you this, Brennan, as well, since you switched. What were the major differences between the Awesome Cart and the Bro Cart?
I think the biggest difference was on the Burrell. Like it's pretty good in all conditions. Like it could be like, for example, in our rain setup, or sorry, for the heat 2, when we went out in rains, we didn't change anything in the setup. We just put on rain tires, and I was still able to like finish second with a good time. And for me, that's huge because I'm the driver and the mechanic, as you know.
Yes.
So the less changes I have to make on the kart, the more energy I have to actually race.
Yeah.
So that was the big thing. But yeah, it's a great experience being on different karts in the past, because I've been able to apply it to this kart and like, oh, why is this happening? And then make a change. And yeah, and also it's pretty competitive right out of the box, right? Like it was my second week on it and I did pretty good. So yeah.
See that. And the other thing I wanted to touch on was our last track race as well at oh, sorry, not the last track race, but one of the last ones I did was track race number 6 with the chicane. How did you guys find that layout?
I think it's a great layout. I mean, you have to really master it. You know, it's going downhill. You have to know when to brake and how to carry it up the hill again. I think it's a good mix up. Goodwood's been running the same layout like every single weekend, it feels like. I
Yeah.
think we should try new things. We're use the same layout for CKNA that was coming up now, but yeah, I'm kind of getting bored of it.
So
I like the layout. I think it was actually good to change things up, and I think it made the rest of the track feel good as well, because
Yeah.
you're running a lower gear, so you're accelerating and getting to the corners quicker, which just made it more fun. But that weekend was pretty brutal for me, because I think in both, or the heat, or no, sorry, the pre-final and the final, I got taken out. So
oh,
both of those drives were like recovery drives and didn't finish too well. But no, I like the track. That wasn't the track's fault. It was just, yeah, it had to happen eventually. Just a bunch of crashing. So
yeah. I think the track's cool. I just, my one issue with it is how close the start finish line is to the
Yep.
chicane, and that ends up, messing us up a lot when we're trying to go for finishes and stuff, and we're all dive bombing it in there, and then we're missing the chicane and then creating problems, as we saw with that insane 3 wide finish in the pre-final. I can't believe those guys ended up doing that.
yeah.
But then again, unfortunately, none of them ended up making the chicane right afterwards. So yeah, that's my one gripe with that, is just where the chicane is and what the start finish line is. Just for me, it's just in a dangerous spot, and I'm surprised we don't see any more wipeouts there as it is. But for the most part, we did a good job at managing it and stuff. And
Yeah.
Brennan, let's get on to your perspective of that
Actually,
race, because we all know what happened there.
Yeah. So we went into that race, like the tires weren't the best. So it really struggled like on the exit of that chicane, like just sliding over. So was losing some time there, but I enjoyed the track like a lot, because like Louis said, like higher gear, just more speed. It felt nicer. But I think it was in the pre-final when it was 3 wide. I was behind Jelena, and I saw them all go through like the start finish line. So for some reason, my brain was saying like, follow them, and I went through, and like I think I just nicked Jelena too, and I was like, oh shit. But yeah, and then in the final, it was just, I guess I was in the right place at the right time, and I think it was going into 5. Michael was leading and wasn't totally committed defensive. So I think it was Adrian who first started to try to take the inside, and then I saw you going for it too. Yeah. And I kind of just followed you through and with it. And then like we all almost came to a dead stop, and it was just like whoever got started the first, and then
Yeah, exactly. And you ended up getting through it, and then
Yeah.
I made the mistake of trying to go around the outside of Michael going into 6, and that left the door open for Jelena. And then we got into each other, and then Christian Savalla threw it up the inside, so we were 3 wide. So I had to go out even more, because I could tell if I didn't, we were going to go right over the top of each other. So I had to completely back out of it, and I lost so much momentum, and I went back to 6th. So that was one of the most crazy last laps of the season. So that made for some great footage and everything. And even before that, the huge crash with the Jake and Javier heading into turn 4, which unbelievably destroyed Javier's Micron. I've never seen that before. You can see the motherboard and everything. That was absolutely insane. So it's just, I mean, it's a product of racing and we're all going for it. So
Yeah. Hopefully he sent it back because they're pretty good with their returns, like
yes.
Micron. Yeah, hopefully you got that figured out.
Yeah, because those things aren't cheap, man. Those Micron
No.
5s are expensive.
Yeah.
So that was the other thing I was just going to mention now, because that was one of, as I get into this, the prizes that were drawn out on the weekend. I think that was really cool. What did you guys think of those? Because honestly, even though I didn't win one, that was great stuff.
I thought it was really cool, the fact that they had all those prizes and the kids seemed really into it. They were really excited, and it kind of gets everyone together and like just excited for the moment. A lot of good prizes too, but I didn't get any.
I actually won something. I won like a tablet, but
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh,
yeah, but it was like a Samsung tablet, and I didn't really want it, so
Oh.
I just sold it. So, but
What?
it paid for my steering column. I broke. Have you ever went
Oh,
over my
okay.
thing? My thing, it bent my steering column in half, and I sold the tablet to pay for the steering column. So
Okay.
it all worked out.
Who'd you sell the
least-
tablet to?
Some random guy on Kijiji. $100 though, like I'll take it.
All right.
pretty good
Stupid.
deal.
Although I feel like you could have gotten more for that, but I mean, whatever.
Whatever. It was free. I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going to complain, but I got a book on how to brand a racing team. So looks like I got to start a racing team now. And yeah, it was funny because Javier was beside me and then he got a cookbook. So we're like, just started reading together. So,
Hey.
you know,
So, well, I mean, hey,
it
you're
was-
already halfway there, Brennan. You have the suit that says Brennan Taylor Racing, and on the helmet it says Brennan Taylor Racing. So
yeah,
you're somewhat there. You just got to get some decals made and get some
It's so
tents
funny
made, and there
'cause-
you go.
yeah, that suit I bought, I think in my second year of racing, like I was in junior. So, and I haven't put on that suit in like 2 or 3 years. So I put it on and like I could barely move my arm. Like it felt like my forearm was
Ah.
going to pop out of my suit. So hopefully we're getting a new suit on the way or something, because
Oh man,
that or have to figure something out.
new Burrell
But yeah.
suit and everything.
Yeah, we'll see. But yeah,
I think those prizes were amazing. Honestly, just gave everybody. It felt like we were at an auction, and except where you don't have to pay any money for anything. So, I thought it was really well done and stuff. I'm glad that they gave us a good talking to. Just go have fun and everything. Even before the semi-disaster final race of Saturday, they said, let's try to be a good role model. Unfortunately, that didn't turn out real well because half that race was dust all over the track and not even getting any good laps in and trying to go with each other. But I mean, hey, it made for some great footage and all that stuff. And we were all talking about it afterwards and stuff. That was probably the craziest race we're going to see this year. I could be wrong, but you never know. So we'll just see how it turns out. Anything else you guys got from this past weekend, or anything else from or leading up to certain events?
I guess just excited for the nationals at Mossport, because the past couple years have had pretty bad luck. I think it was in 2019. I was consistently in the top 5, like in practice and everything, and we just had engine problems. And it wasn't until the final where we slapped on a different motor. I don't know why we didn't do it earlier, but we slapped on one, and I started last, and I made my way up to 11th or something, and it was just it sucks seeing like, oh, we could have done that earlier and had a better result.
Yeah.
But yeah, want to redeem myself this year and be nice to get a podium or a win. You never know, it's anybody's race up there.
Exactly.
So just play it smart, and yeah.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same for Shannonville. I think I need a little redemption. The heats were fun. I started in second or third, I can't remember, but yeah, the minute you get passed by a couple people, it was hard to get back. So I feel like just knowing that going into it and hopefully I can also grab a podium over there.
I'd like to, honestly. I've been looking forward to Shannonville all year. That's probably the one I've looked most forward to and the one that I really, really want. So we'll end up seeing how that goes and all that. And I hope they actually bring if not, maybe I'll supply some, but hopefully they bring some champagne for the top three, just like they did at Carts Cup. So I feel like that'd be an amazing feature. If not, I just throw in a few pops or whatever and then just shake them and then open them. That would honestly be pretty good as well.
Oh my
So-
god, the champagne was so cool on the podiums, like
Yeah, I was-
like being
I was-
up
I was a bit
there
jealous.
and yeah,
Oh,
had a nice drink after too. So
yeah. Have some fun, man. So that's how you know you had a good time, is tasting that champagne afterwards, man.
coming back drenched, hair soaking in champagne and everything. You
And then
had to wash your suit the next day.
then you realize it's not over and your whole team comes over and they spray you and everything. It's like, oh boy. So anything else, guys?
That's it.
All right, then. Well, I guess this is the end here. So that wraps up the second special edition of the Racing Topic podcast. Again, Luis, Brennan, Jelena, thank you for coming on and being the guest this week. Later on this week, like I said, we're going to have Logan Ploder join us on the podcast and a variety of other drivers afterwards. We're really going to be firing off episodes quick here with the Nationals and everything coming up. So, but until then, next time, everyone, this is Chad Webster for the Racing Topic podcast. Y'all take it easy.